Today I am doing some protein-sparing modified fast meal prep. I'll be making 3 different proteins. Hi, I'm Anita from KetogenicWoman.com, where I share keto and carnivore recipes and cooking ideas. If you're new here, please check out some of my other videos and hit subscribe. If you're a returning viewer, welcome back. Okay, so I have another week ahead of me where I'm going to be doing 3 days of protein-sparing modified fast. So I need some lower fat proteins to be able to grab and go, because I have, like I'm doing a lot of things, visiting my mom in the nursing home back and forth. Grab and go is good. So today what I'm going to make is the turkey burgers that I usually make, which I absolutely love. I'm going to try making them as a meatloaf. A couple of the ladies in the group that I'm in, they've been making meatloaf and it looks good, so I'm going to do that as well. And I've just sort of varied the recipe slightly, but I'll have the ingredients that I'm using. The next thing I am making is, and it's already marinating, is the Mojito chicken from Maria Emmerich's Protein Sparing Cookbook. And I'll give you more details about that. And I'm also making chicken tenders. It's my favorite type of white meat chicken. I find it much easier to eat. It's a little more juicy than just a chicken breast. And I'm going to be doing a Greek thing there as well. I'm going to use some Greek seasoning and make a tzatziki for dipping. So let's get started. I'm going to move some of this out of the way, and I'm going to do the turkey loaf first because that's going into the oven the longest.
Oh, and I better preheat the oven.
All right, so if you have seen me make the turkey burgers, then you probably already are familiar with the recipe. But today I'm doing a loaf. I've got 2 pounds of extra lean ground turkey in here. I get it from Costco. It comes in a 4-pack. I found some low-fat feta cheese. The package said 200 grams. I drained it, weighed the cheese, and it's 7 ounces. So I'm just going to dump that in there. The cheese really needs to be crumbled, of course. So I find it easiest just to take a fork. The other thing that I'm going to put in here is this seasoning that I found. The writing on here is Greek. I found it actually in the butcher shop when I was buying some steak. There was a little card on the back, and I read the ingredients. It was completely clean. It contains Greek seasoning, and the card that had all the ingredients on it said gyro seasoning.
It smells really good.
So I'm going to give it a try. I've been making it with Italian seasoning, and I wanted to put a more Greek, spin on this thing. It smells great. So I normally use 1 tablespoon per pound of the seasoning. So I'm going to go for 2 tablespoons here and hope it's not too overpowering because I haven't tried this before. And I'll mix that in a bit more. If you are afraid of making anything with ground turkey, as I used to be, ground turkey is dry and I've never really enjoyed it. But mixing it with the feta cheese just seems to make all the difference. I'm also going to put egg whites in here, and it just makes so much difference. Now, this will be my first time trying it with the lower fat feta cheese, so I'm hoping I haven't ruined it, but I doubt it. I think it'll be good. I'm going to put some salt and pepper in. This is my salt and white pepper seasoning. I think the first time I made this, I put too much salt in, so I'm just gonna do half a teaspoon plus a pinch more, about 3/4 of a teaspoon. Salt it to your taste. I tend to under-season a bit because I'm somewhat sensitive to most seasonings. But I find for some reason the Italian seasoning, and I'm hoping the Greek seasoning, doesn't seem to trigger anything in me. Those seem pretty clean. I have my oven preset to 350. And I am putting in a half a cup of egg whites. And this will boost the protein plus add some much needed moisture to the turkey breast. I'm just going to stab out some of the bigger chunks of cheese in here. I'm going to smoosh it with my hands a bit. There's something about touching raw turkey. That's why I'm putting on a glove. I want to get some of these bigger chunks of cheese, squish them down a bit. It's easier for me to feel where they are.
It's kind of fun, actually. Could be a stress reliever. Smooshing turkey. I wonder if smoosh is actually a word. It should be a cooking word. I tend to use it a lot. If not, it should be. Yeah, it'll sound weird, I'm sure. Smoosh, smoosh, smoosh.
Okay, I think I've done enough smooshing. Just gonna give this a little bit of a spray with some Spectrum coconut oil. I don't think it'll stick, but I usually make this on parchment. Now I'm gonna put it in the pan. Make it look nice and smooth on top. Okay, so off we go into the oven. I've set the timer for 40 minutes. I think it should be ready, but I'll check it and see. Okay, so next up is chicken mojito, and this is from Maria Emmerich's Protein Sparing Modified Fast Cookbook. So on page 37, I've modified the recipe a little bit based on what I had. So we'll be listing those modifications in the video description and maybe even on the screen. I actually started this last night. Instead of using chicken legs, I've used chicken thighs. There's 1.5 pounds in here of thighs, and it was 8 thighs in the package. I used the juice of 5 lemons, and I used a couple of handfuls of this English mint that I have growing everywhere in my yard. It smells amazing and it's really soft. I love using it in recipes, but I have way too much. I'm going to use my Ninja grill, and I'm just going to use the air fryer option to make these. So I started this yesterday afternoon, so it's been marinating for almost 24 hours. So, okay, so I'm gonna get my my grill heated up here. So I set my grill to 400 degrees, and I'm going to just check it every few minutes just to see. These won't take long to cook. Okay, says to add food, so I will. So as you can see, there's an awful lot of marinade left. So what I would suggest with this recipe, because we're all gonna put different amounts of lime in, and since everything is going to cook off on the grill or in the air fryer, I would probably just, when you're ready to count your macros for however much of the chicken that you eat, is to just use the macros for a boneless, skinless chicken thigh out of Carb Manager or Fat Secret or whatever app you're using, and then maybe add 1 gram of fat or something just to be on the safe side. Okay, we're at 5 minutes now, so I'm going to check on them and flip them over. Look at that, these are almost done. They may even be pretty much, but I'm gonna let them go a little bit longer because they're probably not completely done inside. Oh, they smell good. So that will be another 5 minutes. Okay, so in this bowl, I have about a pound of chicken fillets or chicken tenders. You've seen me make these before. These don't need marinating because they're very moist when they come out, as long as you don't overcook them. What I'm going to do is I'm going to season them, and then I'm going to throw them in the air fryer. Since I've already got it dirty, I'm going to throw them in there after I take those out. So I'm just going to wash my hands and season them. I'm going to try the same gyro seasoning here. Put a tablespoon in, and I'll just use this. Toss them around. So this is going to go in. I'm thinking these will take about 5 minutes at 400 in the air fryer. A lot of times I just bake them on a sheet in the oven, and probably 8 minutes or so at say 375.
I mean, there's so many. You can grill these, air fryer, bake, roasted, however.
Don't overcook them is the thing. Like just check them after a few minutes. Just when they're like there's sort of a sweet spot when they're cooked, and no more is when you want them. Then they're really juicy just on their own. Although I am going to make a dip for this, and it's going to be kind of like a tzatziki, but I don't have lemon. I usually put lemon in my tzatziki, and this time I'm going to use lime because that's all I have. So it'll be interesting. Let's see what it tastes like. I may as well do that now while I'm waiting. So I've got about a cup of fat-free yogurt in here. When I'm having this, I'm probably only going to have like a tablespoon or so, but I anticipate that others will eat it as well. There's my lime. I'm putting in the juice of 1 lime into this. And I'm just going to grate a little bit of cucumber. My sister brought me this a few days ago. It's from her garden. I'll just take the rind off real quick. Normally I would peel this with a peeler, and I don't even need to get all the rind off. If you haven't noticed, I'm not really a precision cook. I just throw things together. Good German cook. That's how my mom did it. It was hard to get her to write stuff down so that I would know what to do. Just watch, you can do it. All my little messies here. Mix that up. This obviously is not carnivore. It's got cucumber in it. It's ketovore. I'm not worried about it in the amount that I would eat. It would be very small. There we have that. Okay, these are perfect. They are a little crispy. So this was 11 minutes. I meant to open it at 10 minutes, but I got distracted. Let's get those on the plate. Oh, that looks really good. Okay, I'm gonna let that sit for a minute. And I am tossing in my chicken strips, or fillets, tenderloins. There they go. Give them a little spread it out in here. I'm going to check that in 5 minutes. So I want to try this while we're waiting. It's good. You know, you can taste that citrusy flavor and the mint, and not too much salt. I'm actually going to try it with a little bit of this. Very good. I love that. I never would have thought to have the tzatziki with this, but it works. But it's really good on its own too. So there's my chicken thighs for the week. Tracking your macros because you're doing protein sparing modified fast and trying to count your protein. Weigh them as cooked, boneless, skinless chicken breasts. Count the macros that way. So I'm going to put those in a container. Okay, this has been going for 6 minutes. My guess is that they will be ready. Yeah. Oh, no. they are not ready. I see some that could use a little bit more. I'm going to flip them. So I'm going to stick with my original estimate of these need at least 8 minutes. That's what I cook them for. I cook them for 8 to 10 in the oven at 375. And I like the air fryer because it does get them browner, but it doesn't necessarily cook them faster. So now, to be really sure, if you are unsure about whether something is cooked or not, use a meat thermometer. So I'm going to let that go for 2 more minutes. While I'm waiting for this for another minute or so, this is another one of my dad's aprons. I have a feeling he liked his sunflowers. He was an avid gardener. Okay, so it's been another 2 minutes. These look really good. I'm just going to take this thick, this looks like the thickest one. I want to just cut it, make sure it's, oh yes, that is done. So, just gonna give it a taste. Oh. These are so moist. If you've never done chicken tenders before, you must. I'm just gonna try it with a bit of this. That is so good. I'm going to pull out the rest of these so they don't cook anymore. I'll be putting them into a glass container as well. And the way I count the macros for these is I just weigh them. They're cooked. I treat them like chicken breast. Okay, so now we're just waiting for the meatloaf to come out. We'll see you when that comes out. Okay, this is coming out. There's our turkey loaf. That has been in for 45 minutes. I'm just going to check the internal temperature. Okay, it's telling me 173, oh, 174, it keeps changing. Poultry, 165. I'm gonna say it's done. Okay, so one other thing I wanted to say is that one of the very clever ladies in the group that I am in, she drains off her juices from this, and then she puts it in like a magic bullet or small blender and blends it, and it kind of makes a gravy, which I thought was extremely clever. Katie, you're so clever. I love you. Now she apparently has one of those meatloaf pans where you can lift the meatloaf out and then drain it. I don't have that, so I'm going to try something here and hope that I don't have a meatloaf incident. So yeah, I'm going to try to hold this in place and drain it. Oh, so far so good. I didn't get as much juice as I was hoping, though. I have a couple of tablespoons here. It's probably better to do it Katie's way and have one of those. I'm going to look into it myself. I think I need a pan with a lifter so that I can try it. So yeah, what she did, and she showed a picture of it, is she put it in the blender, and it was thicker. I guess probably some little pieces of meat got in there too, I don't know, but it was nice and thick. It looked like gravy, so I thought it was a really good idea, but I don't know if that's enough. At any rate, here we have our meatloaf. It is hot. I'm going to try to lift it out. Just trying to maneuver my underneath here. There we go. Oops. That was almost a meatloaf incident. Oh, look at that, more juice is coming out. Maybe I will have enough. Who knows? I'm just gonna let it drip for a minute. Look at that. Okay, there we go. Okay, I've got about 1/3 of a cup there, so that's better. Probably if I just let it sit longer, because I see now that there are some juices on my board here, but I am an impatient sort of person sometimes. I'm actually going to let this sit and cool before I slice it. My suggestion for macros is I will put the macros for the entire recipe down below, and then however you decide, if you make it, however you decide to cut it, into however many slices you get, then you can just divide it by those number of slices and you'll know what your macros are. Because we're all gonna do this different. I might even take some, crumble it up and make something else out of it. Like there's all different ideas I have here for using this. I'll just slice a piece off the end just so you can see the texture of it. Kind of prefer to let it sit and marinate in its juices for a while, but I want you guys to see it too. There we go. I live off the turkey burgers, which is basically the same recipe. So I know that I'm going to be eating a lot of this week. Take a little bite right now, because I am kind of interested to see what that new spice is going to taste like. That is definitely different than the Italian seasoning, but in a good way. It's got coriander and a few other things like that. It is really good. I actually think it will be amazing with this dip too, so I'm glad I made so much dip, because I'll probably use that for all 3 of these meats. And it's fat-free, so perfect for protein-sparing modified fast. So yeah. I hope you try some of these recipes. If you have questions about doing protein-sparing modified fast, feel free to put them down below. I haven't been doing it that long, but it is helping. It broke a 3-month stall for me, and in July I lost 9 pounds. I don't know what I've lost this month, because I'll reveal that at some point. I'd be happy to, even if it's just 5 pounds or something, I'd be thrilled with that. And this is delicious. The turkey burgers are delicious. Essentially the same recipe. So I'll post the link to the burgers below. I'll just show you my containers of food. So to recap, Mojito chicken thighs, basically a lime and mint marinade. And chicken tenders, I used the same Greek seasoning as in here, and tzatziki, which is fat-free yogurt, lime juice, because I didn't have lemon. Some people like to add garlic, but I have problems with raw garlic. So lime juice, a little bit of, probably 2 tablespoons of grated cucumber in there, and then the turkey loaf. So thanks for watching. Oh, wait, the turkey loaf plus potentially gravy. We'll see how this turns out. Thanks for watching, you guys, and we'll see you next time. I have some good recipes coming up, so stay tuned.